Please welcome our next speakers. It's a double feature. Please welcome Dr. Jürgen Sturm, Senior Vice President of ZF Group, and Stephan Bauer, Platform Domain Manager at Catena-X.
Thank you, Oliver. So, hello everyone and good afternoon. So, Stephan and I, we have the pleasure to, thanks for having us. We have 30 minutes together. And in order to be efficient and effective, so I will start with around 10 minutes and then he will jump in and then he will tell about the real world. So I'm the one looking at things from a management perspective, but he's really doing this. And we wanted to really do something like, in German, a Werkstattbericht. So to see what's going on. And maybe, so Stephan, I will push the button, 10 minutes. Oh, sorry, now it says 30 minutes, that's wrong. So, and then it will be your turn. Time is running. So, my humble self, when Oliver Field called me some weeks ago and invited me, would you consider to come to Berlin for this conference and give a speech? I said, okay, I don't know. What's the context? He said, Hasso-Plattner Institute, Developers Conference, Software Engineering. And I said, oh, no. I would rather prefer to come and listen and learn rather than to speak. So he was not too persistent, but he said, give it a thought maybe. Please check whether you have time. And in a couple of days, we can talk again. I think that was more or less the proceeding. Then I looked in my calendar and said, I'm in Berlin anyway. So it's a good opportunity. And I'm a notoriously curious person. So I would love to come to this conference. But more than a listener, still I don't know what to talk about. But then 1 or 2 days later, an idea came up to my mind, which was very important to me, where I would like to share one experience with you and an important question. And this question comes along also with a challenge. I would like to challenge you all to give me feedback, not me alone, but us feedback. But think of yourself where you could utilize such kind of things, because Bernd Lohmann made a brilliant speech how things are accomplished in one large company. Now we, Stephan and I, we take it one level higher even and just talk about doing such kind of things across different enterprises. I call it community development. And now I come, before I go even into the first slide. So my name is Jürgen Sturm. I studied mechanical engineering and computer science in the 80s of last century, long way ago. There I did go to a research institute and I worked 6 years on my doctorate degree. There I connected data. So my thesis was on connecting process data from production in electronics production. And I applied neural networks for learning systems to deliver Six Sigma quality, because if you are driving a car, you never need an airbag unless you need it. But when you need it, it should be 100% safe. And this is why Six Sigma quality, and we had a brilliant speech this morning from Bosch, quality is so paramount to everything. And cause and effect relationships, and to use neural networks to detect cause and effect relationships in production and make then closed loop control for zero defect production is important. And I was amazed how these, there's the colleague from Bosch, I was amazed how already in the late 80s, early 90s, with then in time technology 30 years ago, such kind of things did amazingly work. And now think about how we've come along now with the technology. Now, then afterwards, I started at Daimler, became a process re-engineering manager, then ended up as a supply chain executive in the semiconductor business, steering global supply chains, and it's a data game again, because it's also zero or 100% delivery accuracy. just in time, just in sequence. I had to deliver to Mercedes-Benz in Sindelfingen airbag and ABS devices that have to be right in time there. And but cause and effect relationships across the entire supply chain, it's a data game and a challenge. And afterwards, I became 1999, I became an IT director. And now, for the last 26 years, I was the CIO in 3 companies. And now, here comes the challenge that I want to share with you and the learning. I have been now 26 years in the role of CIO in large companies. I'm currently in migration in my own transformation into my next phase. I will retire from ZF, but what was a life-changing experience for me to work in Catena-X. ZF is also a pioneer and a founding member of the Catena-X Association. And for decades, I was used also as a CIO, that whenever we have a problem to solve, to build a solution, we did build the solution, or with commercial off-the-shelf software, SAP, whatever. We implemented it, and 2-3 years after, we had a solution. What happens next? We need interfaces to the other companies. And the whole thing starts again. Then we have to again build working groups, etc. Now, community development and radical collaboration is the point we want to talk about. And first, those are big words in radical collaboration. But let me just define it a little bit. From Webster dictionary, there are 4 meanings. Radical, coming from the root. Radix, deeply rooted in the ground. Fundamental, extreme, excellent, cool. But, and I won't read it all. Copilot also gave a nice topic or nice explanation. Radical collaboration, deep, transformative cooperation among diverse groups. Seeks to break down silos, foster genuine partnerships, trust, transparency, and mutual respect, bringing in diverse perspectives, opening trust, shared goals, continuous learning to master complex challenges no one can solve alone. Complex challenges no one can solve alone. And it gives even nice example outlined the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDG, where no single organization can achieve the goals alone. So think about community development, and this is what we did in the automotive industry, starting from a pioneering group in Germany, but now increasingly with regional hubs across the globe, in Japan, China, different hubs in Europe, North America, South America, to address topics no single company in the automotive supply chain can solve alone, like resilient supply chains, trusted sustainability, effective quality, in a multi-tier collaboration along the different partners in the value chain. And this radical collaboration started 5 years ago, 2020, and I had the privilege and honor to be there involved from day one. And so this is just also an example. Look about the different ESG criteria that needs to be fulfilled, product passes, CO2 regulations. If climate change matters, CO2 matters, and we have to have science-based targets. And if we want to know exactly the product carbon footprint of a car that has maybe 0 mileage, and if we want to know during the production chain so far, what is how many CO2 footprint has been used, and how many circular economy materials are involved there, we must have data chains that make this possible. There were different alternatives. Could we build one single database for the entire automotive industry? Definitely not. Could we have one software partner, Microsoft, SAP, or whoever? Definitely not. And should we just everybody do and mind your own business in your own company? Definitely not. So we needed to have a collaborative approach based on common interests, shared goals, interoperability framework, trust framework, including the computer science topology and everything that needs to be brought in to have really this safe environment. So what we have built in the recent years, a framework for an end-to-end data chain across the different players in the automotive sector, build it on trusted identity, self-sovereignty of data, because the answer is not that we have one cloud where the one cloud solves all questions. We would never ever, we would like to have such kind of a solution, because then we could, even if this was technically possible, we would not like to have it, because this central intermediary, there are certain risks associated with that. Interoperability, self-governed by the industry. So it's not a database, it's a data chain, an open ecosystem for standardized, secure, and simple environment. Now comes the community development, and this was for me also a new experience. That also T-Systems you were T-Systems? So T-Systems, Volkswagen, Bosch, several partners even here in this room, we came together, and from day one, for me also as a CIO, I was used at open source. We are used at the Linux community. That's great. But these are these nerds that are working on Linux and all these nitty-gritty things, and we are building upon that. We would never ever use this by our own. Of course, we were using Red Hat and all these topics, but this idea to build software right away from the beginning was unheard of for me. And I think about yourself. This is the challenge I want to think about, where you have opportunities to leverage such kind of approaches, because especially in Europe, when we're talking about digital sovereignty, etc., according to challenges that we all have together, that no one can solve alone, we need to think about such kind of approaches. So there are developers' kits, and here Stephan will then dig deeper, where for different topics like carbon footprint or for quality cases on the different layers of specification, vision and mission. I put myself a little bit under time pressure, you know, because this will ring. But starting from the vision, the semantic models, the API specifications, and then including training materials, etc., to set up everything as running software code. And after, so the starting phase in first ideas in 2020, then really starting in 21. In 3 years' time, we have developed a robust set of functionality together, which then is building the ecosystem environment where all partners involved can continue to develop these solutions, self-governed by the industry. There are currently roughly 180 members in the Catena-X association. So my time is over, time is running out, but I'm good in time, globally represented. And it's also a blueprint for other industries. And so there is a full technical stack available that is the basis for all partners involved. And I will not go into the different solution kits and the network foundation about all the industry core, the Eclipse data space connector, all these topics. This is not the point now. I want to go deeper. But you see that many partners are investing into this ecosystem. And you have also the freedom of choice that we as users of such kind of solutions, there are different players that are offering their solutions in the App Store of Catena-X. You can then have your choice, but those solutions are interoperable. And so this is kind of the topic, and as ZF, I wanted to explain. As ZF, we contributed into 7 use cases. And we are also a contributor into the open source development. This was for me a complete new experience after being 35 years in the business and 26 years walking in the shoes of a CIO. And I wanted to share this experience. And I wanted to ask you, think about it, where everybody in your area of responsibility could think about such kind of approaches. This could be in the public sector, this could be in health sector. Now currently I'm working with Technical University of Munich on 4 use cases. One is real estate business, for instance. interesting perspectives. And, but I did not want to go into the details. Now I hand it over to Stephan, because Tractus-X, that's the open source vehicle inside Catena-X under the Eclipse Foundation. And sorry for taking a little bit of your time, but I was more or less just on time as I planned it. Thank you very much, and please a big applause to Stephan.
And cool, thank you very much. Oh, I never used such a headphone here. So yeah, thank you very much for having me here. I'm happy. I'm basically in the same situation as you. We had a workshop here in Berlin. Normally I'm located in Munich, and with the Catena-X Association we had a workshop yesterday and today, and now I'm here. I'm really happy to be here. Normally I would speak in front of the techies. I'm not sure about the situation here, but it looks like a little bit different than the others. But let's have a look on this picture here. This picture was made on the 4th Tractus-X Community Days 2 weeks ago, and whenever I look at these kind of pictures, I'm really starting to smile. Why? Because we have a great community, and it's really great what we already achieved in the community itself. And let's go a little bit further. So the idea was to tell you something about my life as a project lead here, radical collaboration in practice. I'm a project lead I'm not working for the Eclipse Foundation, but I'm a project lead. So since Tractus-X is an Eclipse project under the umbrella of the Eclipse Foundation, we follow their rules, and there are some rules related to the roles itself. And in this case, I'm a project lead. I will explain it later what it means in detail. Long time ago, I studied computer science. I was a happy developer, and at some point it changed a little bit. But anyway, I really like having GitHub commits and contributions here. So that reminds me a little bit of my technical background, let's say. And what you can see here, I still contribute. And when I say contribute, then it's a contribution to Tractus-X, to the Eclipse project. My normal job description is a platform domain manager at the Catena-X Association. And today it's a little bit bold. I'm speaking as project lead in Eclipse Tractus-X. When I would look into my contract, which I signed in 2023 in October with the association itself, there are basically 2 tasks mentioned. The first one is really a platform domain manager. Here it's like a multi-product owner responsible for further developing of our services. So the whole data space, the whole ecosystem is based on different software components, centralized components and decentralized components, and that's basically my main job. It's okay, but it's not the funny job. So for me, at least, the community-driven part is really the more fun part, and this is called the project lead. So in the contract, it says activating the open source community. And the same situation as for you, it's the first time I'm really working in an open source community, and it's really so much fun. And I hope after my speech, you feel it a little bit, you see it, what we did and what we achieved. That would be the goal. Funny thing, sadly, I was not involved in the monster cards and so on, but I just had a look into the monster card, and I see a lot of monsters here. Just a reminder. And yeah, these are some requirements, some wishes we have. Related to open source community, to developing in the open source community. But I just want to highlight one from control to contribution. So I think the biggest part also for the automotive industry was here really working together, the radical collaboration, because this is not normal. Normally you would develop your own solutions and so on, as you already mentioned. And this is the very first time also from my experience when the automotive industry works really together. Some competitors, some consultants and so on really work together, share their thoughts, their experience and so on, and this is really nice, and this is still an ongoing job. Even if the consortia ended last year, we are live, we are productive, we are sharing data, and the companies are still working together. And that's great. And that's not only the automotive industry. With the foundation of Trackers X, we try to bring it also into other industries. So I'm not sure if you heard about the other initiatives like Health X, Semiconductor X, Factory X, Manufacturing X, and so on. There are a lot of X's where they want to build data spaces, and the goal for Trackers X is to be the foundation here. So what makes it work success? And I hope it's okay if I'm standing here. I have some issues with the height here. Yeah, we have a neutral governance. So we are under the umbrella of the Eclipse Foundation. So they provide some different documentation, some governance. That's good for us. So because we need something like this, it's a neutral environment. Of course, we are transparent and openness. Not only one company is involved, and that's pretty cool. So what you can see here, the companies which are involved in the contribution, no worries if you don't see your company. It might be the case that your developer didn't map the company with the GitHub account. So there's also Siemens involved, Bosch, and other companies. ZF is also involved, and you see the companies here. What we have a shared backlog. So since we are open and transparent, we do everything open and transparent. We have open meetings, we have open planning sessions, and so on, and everybody can join. So even if you are interested and you don't have a GitHub account, you could join. You could just join the open meetings and discuss with the people, or just listen. That's also fine. The roles in Eclipse Trackers X. So this is my biggest fear right now. So Eclipse is a I have always problems with pronouncing this word, meritocracy. Not sure if it's pronounced correctly, but so what does it mean? So this is the easy part, just to explain it. The more you contribute, the more power or the more responsibility you get. So it's not the case in our system here that if you pay money, you get a better position or whatever. So it's always the case you have to contribute. You have to be an active member of the open source community. And if you're an active member of the open source community, then you can get the different roles here. So normally you start as a contributor. So you provide code, or you contribute in our open source community meetings and so on. And that's basically enough. Documentation, code contributions, and so on. So, and if you proved your contributions, then you get elected to the next level. So you could get elected by the community itself, by the other committer. So if you want to become a committer, then you have continually contribute to the community, and the committer elect you. And it's basically the same as a project lead. And that's why I'm again, still proud of the whole system, because I was elected as a project lead. But as I already mentioned, I didn't contribute code. For me, it's more than networking stuff. So I'm responsible as a project lead for the release management, for the open plannings, moderation, and so on. I live for the community. That's the second part. What about the time? Yeah, okay, cool. Since a lot of people are always asking how to become a committer, and this is just an extract from the Eclipse handbook, I just want to highlight something, and I already mentioned it. So if you want to be a committer, and maybe I forgot, a committer means you are able to merge pull requests. So normally, if you are just a contributor, you can create pull requests and so on, but the pull request itself has always to be approved by a committer. And a committer, that's why we have this picture here. A committer is really not interesting, important role for us, because the committer is in the end responsible of the code which comes onto the main branch itself. On our side, of course, we follow the Eclipse guidelines and so on. We have on top some Trackers X release guidelines, and also our committers have to follow these release guidelines. And that's important. For every pull request, a committer has to check these guidelines to fulfill the needed quality itself. And that's why the committer is so important. So as I already mentioned, you have to contribute regularly to the project itself. And this is also important. It's not only about code. It's just working in the community. It's contributing to the community. Show commitment, demonstrate long time. I think that's also clear, and build trust. It's also very important. A committer or a person who wants to be a committer should be also active in the community in the different meetings. So it's something like showing faces, building trust, and so on. So if there is a committer, even if the committer or the future committer has a lot of cool contributions, it might be the case that the committer or the future committer is not elected because he or she is not known in the community. So we are talking here about trust, and that's also important. Some numbers, and we are still proud of it, still #1 project. So when we talk about this project, we compare the different Eclipse projects itself, and Eclipse Tractus X here is still #1. The number here is the pure commits, and there's another statistic by contributors, and also here by contributors we are still #1. That's a cool thing, and that's also a picture we always show because we are just really proud about it. Some technical resources, numbers, and so on. We are talking here about 57 GitHub repositories, which means round about 23 products. So I talked about services, so the decentralized and centralized components which are necessary to bring up to operate the data space. These are the products itself. We have 4 releases per year. And as I already mentioned, we have open refinement, alignment, and open planning. So really open. The community behind, we have around about 200 plus contributor. This is an important number here for us, the 15 out of 43 active committer. Why is it important? So we have 43 committers in a list, in a GitHub teams, but only in this case, only 15 are active. And to be honest, that's a little bit sad if you compare the committer and you know the committers are responsible for maintaining the products, for the quality and so on, and you see the 23 products or the 57 GitHub repositories. It's hard to maintain these repositories with only 15 committers. That's why I'm also happy to be here, just to raise awareness about what is behind the success and so on. And sadly also, this is a job for the project lead. If we see not active committer, we have to retain, is it retain? Retire, sorry. We have to retire these committers. Another nice number, so we have a mailing list where you can get information about the development process and so on. Right now there are 311 people subscribed. We have 8 regular open meetings through the different topics. So for example, there's the Eclipse Database Components Connector, so the EDC connector weekly. There's a portal weekly and so on for the different services we are developing. There are different regular meetings, and you can just also join here, ask the developers, the experts some questions, or if you have some ideas or whatever, you just can contribute also here. And since I love the picture, 2 community days per year, so the next community days are in December. Also here I'm involved, I'm there as speaker. I have a own workshop there, and I'm also in the program committee here. So this is also contribution to the community. So the working model, I think we talked already a little bit about these topics here. Open and transparent collaboration with GitHub. So we are fully planning and developing in GitHub. There is no Jira or no project management tool or whatever. So we are using GitHub for our timelines. You can see here on the right side some issues, some features we are working on. Okay, you cannot see it, but these are the features. We have the open planning and refinement. We are working in GitHub. Everybody is working in GitHub. The documentation is, of course, in GitHub, and the development itself is in GitHub. And as I already mentioned, the note here, if you're just interested and if you just want to have a look what is going on in Tractus X and what are the people developing there, you can just have a look. It's open. So we have here the open meetings, and this is also not normal. So the people are spending their time to visit the meetings, to host the meetings itself. So in this case, we have 8, not 6, 8 regular meetings and a lot of one-time meetings or planning meetings itself. And when we talk about the planning meetings, for example, just to name here some numbers, for an open planning meeting, we are around about 150 to 200 people in the meeting because the people are interested in what's going on, what are the next steps, what will be developed in the next release itself. Yeah, and also here some numbers. We are Eclipse Structures X. I'm not sure what I should tell you more. I think the pictures are speaking for themselves. It's a great community. I love it, and yeah, happy for your questions.